Welcome back. It's your boy Seth Garu Baxter with Maker's Bar, where we are creating 1 million leaders today for tomorrow. Now, what if I told you, considering the days and times, that we are currently in a state where we're looking for new economic systems, new social structure systems, new CEOs that would bring those economic systems to us as the citizenry? What about a new concept of building an economic and a political structure of society? Well, these are radicalized ideas, but they're radicalized only because we use the term radical as something we're uncomfortable with. What I suggest to you today with my guest, Curt Dilon, the arbiter of these particular ideas, is to say that radicalization is exactly what we're looking for. Maker's Bar is always on the edge to bring you new leaders who are bringing new ideas and new concepts. With us today, we have the president of Dilon Concept. The president of Dilon Concept, who is proposing to us, there's a different way we can live. Considering the last election, considering the state of events of our state, we at Maker's Bar are at the cutting edge of being able to bring to you new ideas. And Mr. Curt Dilon is here with us today to explore some of those ideas in the Dilon Concept. I got to tell you, I have not been as fascinated as I have in years to think about a new economic and social structure for our country. Curt is here today to tell us about the Dilon Concept and what that means. Curt, thank you so much for joining us today. And as I have not mentioned, that Curt is a friend of mine for some years now who has come up with this concept. So Curt, thank you for joining us here today on my show. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me. It's
absolutely
really
my pleasure.
Pleasure and an honor to be here.
Absolutely my pleasure. Curt, please share with the audience your origin story. Where were you born? And please share with us how you got to this point.
I was born in the Soviet Union, former Soviet Union, particularly in where is now country Kazakhstan. I grew up on a military base. It was a little bit unusual environment, should I say, for childhood, but that's where I grew up. And then I went to the Soviet Union military school and become a Soviet Union officer and serve in the Air Force base in Ukraine, actually, for several years. And then I left the army, and after the Soviet Union collapsed at age of 25, I built the first system integrator in Central Asia region, basically bringing the new technology from the United States and other leading countries at the time to the development of Kazakhstan. Then I'm skipping ahead a little bit. Then I have experience to work as a Cisco representative, SAP 500 company as a Cisco main representative, and basically manage the operations for entire country for almost 6 years. And for the past 10 years, I would say I'm a contractor, IT contractor, independent IT contractor. I have my own small business operations, and I work with many IT companies. But I want to point it out to a couple of episodes in my life that probably affect these ideas. One of them was in 2009. It was very hard time for Kazakhstan. I was working there with my own business, and basically I lost it all. And I moved to United States at beginning of 2010. I have to basically start from the scratch. And I had very interesting...
Real quick, Curt, 2010 is when you moved back to the United States?
Correct.
Okay.
And at that point, I have to start from the scratch. It was not many options, and I was lucky to get employed by company called Performance Filmworks. This company, what they do very unique equipment for Hollywood to shoot movies episodes with the high chasing, with the high speed involved, and they need to carry the camera on high speed, etc. But my point is, after many years to be so-called effective manager and successful businessman, etc., I have to go back to where I have to work with my hands. And I remember this interesting realization came to me when I was managing the engineers before, and now I kind of become the engineer, kind of came back to be engineer again. And I was lucky to work with one of the probably best engineers in the industry, because my immediate manager was the actual creator of this equipment, an inventor and brilliant engineer on mechanics and electromechanics. And when I saw him developing something new from the scratch, he would do the mathematical model of it, then we will together build it, and then suddenly we realize it's not working. Because at that time I realized that the physical world not always complies with the theory. You can have a beautiful theory how to build something, but when you actually apply it into the physical world not always comply with it, or it turns out that it's not working completely as you thought it's gonna be. So that's important realizations is between the gap between the, let's say, effective managers and their view, because I was in a position before that happened, in a position of effective managers, and I remember pushing on the engineers to deliver the results in under certain, time or under certain conditions, and etc. And I remember being kind of upset if something not went as we planned, or it and giving hard time to engineers and etc. And then after this experience happens to me, when I saw the brilliant engineer design everything in a beautiful mass model, then it's applied to real life, and it turns out is it not working, or not as we expected, or not even applicable, or we have a whole, we used to call it like a graveyard of the devices that would be built from the scratch, and they turns out not like really applicable in real life. And I also experienced like how two PhDs, because I worked with two guys who used to be like PhD level in the universities. Two PhDs looking for the problem in the device we built together, and etc. And we cannot find a solution for like day or day and a half. You would think it's from the perspective, again, from the manager's perspective, you would think, oh, it's so easy, guys. What's going on? It's so simple. Come on already. So this realization led me to the point where I start thinking about this gap between the manager who kind of don't have real experience doing and dealing with this problem, and the actual people who doing the job. And this is one of the key points to kind of push me to start thinking towards Dilon concept. And this was a long time ago, almost 10 years ago. And since then, I've been working, and honestly, I thought at first it will be just a blog, just a website, and I will just express my ideas there and start kind of exploring them and etc.
So the blog was a way, if I may interject, the blog was a way to interject some of your thoughts about the concept you were already developing.
Correct. Yeah, it was kind of first idea how I can express it to the world and try to share it with the people and see their reaction, etc. But later on, literally like few months ago, through a lot of research and observing the political situation, the financial situation, and the crisis we are going through, I start kind of recognizing that the Dylan concept, because at some point I was thinking maybe it just could be a computer game, but I started to realize this concept, the principle of this concept could work towards actual political and social system of the society, and that's I guess how this all started.
Now, the Dylan concept started as a result of what discovery for yourself?
Discovery for myself that you have to it resonates with the idea that the society should be run by people who knows how this stuff actually works. In Dylan concept, the main idea is that we entrust that we center everything around resources, because most important thing for the people, I believe, is resources, not money. Money doesn't have intrinsic value. Auctions doesn't have intrinsic value. I mean stocks and etc. The only real value for people has resources,
Now,
natural
if you
resources.
don't mind, Curt,
And
if you don't
in
mind,
order,
explain resources so people can get that. If you don't mind, explain resources and what they are. If you can list some of the names of specific resources.
resources that what are water, land, natural resources, what people use on a regular basis. I give you another example from my life. Recently, last year, we have a winter storm. I live on a farm in Oregon. Winter storm completely, it was a lot of fallen trees. It was devastating. And we've been cut out from civilization completely. Our power lines was cut down. Our water supply was cut down because our water based on the whale pumping using electricity. We had nothing. Even if I had pack of money with me, that would do no good to us at all. completely. The only matters to us at this point was water, food, natural resources. And this is most important point because for human life, most important value is natural resources, not money, not Bitcoin, not stocks, but natural resources. And this is what most important for human life, I believe, and for all of us. So I want to create a system where everything centralized about this question, about this topic, natural resources. And back to your question, how I'm sorry, what was the question? We are kind of
pardon me. It was the origin of Dylan concepts, and how you felt resources, what are natural resources themselves.
Yeah, the origin, I would say it's probably my whole life. I cannot point to exact, like, I've been thinking about this for more than 10 years, and I will have to go through all moments of my life, and it's been a lot. So I would just, yep.
Would you say, for the sake of our audience, so the question previous was about natural resources, so land, water, energy to be able to power our lights, resources. Those are things that, and so now in the Dylan concept, one of the things I found extremely interesting with the Dylan concept manifesto, and I think our audience should know, manifestos are not always something with a negative connotation. They really are just a description on what your plans are. And I love that you put the birth of a person on Earth. It gives him full rights to the part of the biosphere and the planet's resources. That's number one in the Dylan concept. And so explain how you came to that philosophy, that at the birth of a person on Earth gives them the full rights. What is that about? How did you come to that concept?
I always a little bit confused with this question because I honestly don't remember how I came to. It's like I said, it's a 10 years journey at least. I've been thinking about that, and a lot of happened in my life. And to point it out exactly which portion of this journey of 10 years kind of triggers this, it's really hard.
And that's okay. So let's just go this way. So the biosphere is the Earth, and we as citizens. So you believe each of us are born with a birthright to a specific portion of land in this biosphere, and or each of us is born with an innate birthright to own a piece of what we do in helping sustain our lives. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe that is correct. Completely correct. Yes.
So in your manifesto, it talks about that each of us have full rights to the biosphere. What does that mean to you?
That means I believe it's completely natural for us to. I always try to explain it in this way. For me, it means if God created us, if you believe in God, I believe in God. If God created us,
yes,
God did not create us naked flying in a vacuum on universe or whatever. God created us together with this biosphere, with the land, I mean the earth and its biosphere. That means portion of this biosphere belongs to me by God's law. But even if you're not God believer, and I grew up in the Soviet Union, was not as an atheist, even
Well,
to
Kurt, if you don't mind, let's examine that a little bit. So you grew up in the Soviet Union. God was a factor in your belief structure.
no, I grew up as an atheist.
So how did you come to a knowledge of God?
Through a lot of reading and I studied. I actually kind of come to God through um, exploring a lot of esoteric teachings.
And so
And
in your discovery of God, you understood that each of us has an inalienable right to, to the concept of the biosphere, that each of us has an innate right to own a piece of this property. Is that what I'm understanding?
correct.
And so, in the Dylan concept, a social system that limits a person's right to his share of natural resources is contrary to the universe's nature. What does
Correct.
that mean?
That means I believe um, I believe that, like I said, we have an inherent right. Let's say you are a wolf in the nature. You don't go ask other wolves if you can uh, drink a water from this creek or kill this rabbit. You just go and possess what you can possess, right? And nobody gives him, as you we imagine that you're a wolf, nobody gives you special permission to get access to this, right?
Yes.
Nobody limits you. At least other wolves, I mean, they can fight you or whatever, but you don't. So I mean, it's natural for each person naturally have possession to some portion of this natural resources. I think absolutely natural. That's it.
So the Dylan concept is purporting to be able to give ownership to each citizen, their own portion of ownership. Is that what we're understanding?
Of portion of the natural resources of the nation. Correct.
So explain that to us, if you don't mind elaborating on that. Giving a portion of the natural resources to citizens. What does that look like, if you can describe that to us?
Imagine that your passport as a citizen looks like smartphone, and this smartphone is representing the your portion of the natural. First, it shows transparently how much resources we have as a nation, like combined. Plus, it also shows you exactly how much is yours, and the it it will be delivered through the system that the core of the Dylan concept called democracy 2.0. And
I'd like you to elaborate on that in a little bit
okay,
as well.
okay,
Dylan Democracy 2.0.
correct. Oh, you want me to go right now? Okay, democracy 2.0. Yeah, democracy 2.0. It's a core system of the Dylan concept. And the idea is that we can have a giant database. Basically, we have a technology right now, I can tell you as IT specialist, that will allow us to basically implement this, that each citizen would have a dedicated share, which I believe should be sacred right of each citizen to have their portion of the natural resources in the possession through their digitizing of all natural resources nations have. And the Democracy 2.0 system will track all this information in live 24/7 for each citizen to have full informational at least access, and also access to their portion of the resources through this system. The Democracy 2.0 platform has a lot of features. You can read them about them in dilonconcept.org. I will touch base on the basic functions. The first, the system will automatically divide the number of resources available as a nation to number of citizens, and for example, I propose that each portion would be divided into 100 years average lifespan of the person. That means each person would have only percentage available equal to the age of the person. That means at 5 years old you will have access to the 5% of your portion. At 25 you will have 25%, and so forth. That means it's an embezzlement mechanism, preventing embezzlement. That means you cannot spend it all in like when, I don't know, partying in younger age and spend it all. So you can get access only partially. So another mechanism I'm offering, for example, that parents would and we can regulate the percentage the system will automatically withdraw from the parents when they have a child. For example, if couple have a child, the system automatically would withdraw like certain percentage. Let's say we can regulate this percentage if we want more population or if we want less population. For example, if we want less population and we see scarcity of resources available to us, by the way, the Dilon concept makes everybody responsible for the resources we have. That's a very powerful point, I believe, because everybody feel responsibility for the resources and will feel real scarce on the resources we have available. And we will it will allow make informative decisions about even population increasing or decreasing, because you will feel it on your skin literally of any population increase or decrease. And in this case we can vote how much we want to let's say parents to be responsible for the birth of child. If we see the scarcity of the resources, we can say, okay, we're going to increase this percentage. And in this case, for example, each parent would be entitled to give up like 10% of their resource base to the newborn child to support his development. So this system will allow to do that. That means, and we can regulate this. We can, for example, eliminate the Dilon concept, and Democracy 2.0 is just a framework I'm offering. It's nothing set in like stone. It's just basic principles how it might work. It's basically a new vision of how the society could operate, and a lot of things could be kind of toggled down and toggle up based on, I don't know, whatever the society or people who implemented it would decide to do with it.
You mentioned two things that are very important: Democracy 2.0 and the Dilon concept. What I'd like you to do, if you don't mind, break down. I explored two of the immediate introductions to your manifesto, but break down what is the Dilon concept for America. Break that down for us.
Dilon concept is a new. It's a new societal structure for the government and society at all. It's basically a new way how to organize society. It's a vision how to organize society differently, completely differently. And I have 3 articles that goes very deep into this topic. I will just mention their names, and you can go and read them on my LinkedIn page on the Dilon Concept page. The first one is called The Dawn of Democracy 2.0, a Dilon Perspective. It's a
And explain what that is. What does this mean? The democracy 2.0 as it fits into the Dylan concept. Explain that, please.
the idea behind give me 1 second. I will return. So in this article,
While you're looking for it,
in this article, I'm addressing very fundamental issue about democracy in general. We live, everybody repeating the democracy, but democracy has fundamental flaws that been outlined by Aristotle more than 2,000 years ago. And it's democracy has fundamental flaw is that if we have really true democracy, the majority would vote to take the position of the minority, because people who own everything always in the minority. And this controversy was outlined by Aristotle. And if you want to learn about this topic a little bit more, I would suggest documentary by Noam Chomsky, The Requiem for American Dream. He goes in great detail about that. He mentions about this democracy. Basically, I give you a simple example. If you live in the house with 10 people together, 10 adults, and 6 of these adults decided that they're gonna smoke inside the house. They like to smoke cigars, for example. And you are not smoker, you are a minority. But in the classical democracy means that you have to basically obey the decision of the majority, right? And if, for example, if you cannot move out from this house right away or at all, that means we have a problem. And this is one of the fundamental problems with democracy, because on a bigger scale, on the scale of the country, if we have 300 million people live in the country, that means little less than half, 150, almost 150 million people. It's a huge number, could be completely unhappy, miserable, and not agree, but have to comply with what is majority thinks. How I want to address this through democracy 2.0? I'm saying, let's allow people to live in the small communities where they agree with each other 100%. So instead of trying to convince everybody to live under the same, of course, we have to have a, let's say, federal level state of rules, which is basic, like 10 commandments, we can say. But on all the, let's say, variations, we can basically, instead of trying to convince people to agree on everything, we can let people to live in the smaller communities where they completely 100% agree on basically their worldview, how they want to live their life. And that's basically the idea behind the democracy 2.0. One of the driving.
So when you say democracy 2.0, elaborate on what that means to our existing democracy. What is democracy 2.0 to you in the Dilon concept?
In the Dilon concept, in the simple words, democracy 2.0 design is described in DilonConcept.org, but I'm gonna just say in the simple words right now. It is the way to organize society in the smaller communities. Usually, I envision it's 300, 500 people, where people agree on all issues and rules 100%. So we don't have this division where we have minority and majority. Basically, in the simple terms, in that example I brought up about the house with 10 people, in classical democracy, you stuck with this house, you cannot escape. In democracy 2.0, you have ability immediately leave this house and join the house of non-smokers, because you agree with them on the rules of mutual living, basically. So in the simple terms, that's what I'm offering. I'm offering that democracy 2.0 offering is to have smaller communities where people agree with everything, with the way of life and everything 100%. So you don't have to struggle with let's say country-wise debate on different issues, which is you might not agree with. But in order to do that, we have to agree how the, let's say, federal level system is designed, and that's where the democracy 2.0 comes in by design also, because I believe the main function of the government should be managing our resources. That's it. And if we focus only on this as a main government function, we will allow these communities to live under kind of localized whatever rules, at the same time keeping the, let's say, federal structure as a resource allocation and management, and etc. So basically, I'm saying on the Dilon concept, the federal law would be mostly around the how to manage resources more effectively, and we're gonna be basically asking the people. Imagine if you're like, for example, if we have Dilon concept right now. I would be sitting, and honestly, I would be careless who is our president. I mean, for the not maybe I said I would be more care how the president manage our resources than any political questions. My main question,
because of the Dilon concept being implemented. Is that what I'm understanding?
correct.
Okay.
The only question I would ask our leaders: how our resources are being managed. Are they managed effectively? Did you make me rich, basically? Because if I can check every day without any political insinuations, I can check on I can pick up my passport phone and check how much resources we having. And if I see it's less, I would start ask questions, right? And it will be transparent right away if government or whoever is in power doing something wrong, doing something that is going to hurt or hurting our resources, because this is the only wealth, most important wealth we have. Like, imagine tomorrow, which is entirely possible, giant meteorite will hit the earth and destroy all the infrastructure, energy grid disrupted, internet not working. Would you be care how much money you have, or Bitcoin or stocks or whatever? You would care how much water, land available to maybe grow food or whatever, and etc. you have, right? Because it's the most important. This is basic what we every human need. And if we through the Dilon concept ideas can organize society based on this awareness, should I say, we might be doing much better than we are right now.
So with that, Curt, with that, how does the Dilon concept redefine the function of money? How does it do that?
I believe money is a main source of corruption.
Okay.
On every level, and most of the crime, and it's truly become matter of power. I will ask you interesting question, just kind of. Did you see the movie Game of Thrones?
Yes, avid fan.
Let me ask you a question. Who is the most powerful there? Most powerful figure?
I think that's very, I like that question. I think Littlefinger and, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name, but
no.
Littlefinger, because he had all the secrets, is what I would think.
Nope. Iron Bank.
Who?
Iron Bank.
Oh, Iron Bank. Okay. So now explain how that fits into this.
So you might have powerful dragons spitting the fire. You might have all armies in the world, but Iron Bank still on top of everyone.
And that makes sense. And I guess I should have thought about that. Yeah. Yep.
So that's why I'm leading to. Right now we have power of money. And by the way, in this documentary, Requiem for American Dream, Noam Chomsky goes in the depths of it, because we basically have what he called finalization of the financialization of the economy. That means money become most of the money earned, they are earned through the manipulations of the money. They're not earned through the production or real value things. The most money right now, the GE, for example, he's pointed out, is much more easy to make money by money manipulations than through the product productions. And it becomes so large that we are right now have a fake economy running by all this money manipulation, but real stuff not get produced. And it's maybe I'm explaining kind of, but so to avoid this, we need economy who is led by people who has actual experience, because it's obvious to me. I mean, if you hire somebody to work for you, the first question you ask, do you have real experience to do this, right? It's so natural. I mean, if you go to interview, it's like nobody even asks. So why we are have leaders who has no experience building stuff?
Interesting.
Because how you can run the economy if you don't have real experience of creating something? And that's where this idea of Captain Dillon's in Dillon concept comes in, because I believe if we wanna government to run our resources in most effective way, we should invite people who actually has demonstrated in real life ability to manage resources. Not
So
in
wait, so when you
not
mentioned,
not
so
in
you mentioned
theory.
Captain Dillon's.
Correct.
You mentioned Captain Dillon's, and I don't want to interrupt your thought that you were just saying, but who are Captain Dillon's? Is Dillon a part of their name? How does this work?
The idea behind the Captain Dillon is very simple. Is we need the society should, if we basically organize our social structure around resource management, we need experts in resource management. And how do we know if they're experts? They have to demonstrate practical ability to manage resources. And it starts with a simple test where future Captain Dillon have to live 1 year, I'm sorry, 1 year in a house he built himself, he or her. So we don't want to limit anybody. And build the house and prove ability to sustain yourself completely independently for 1 year, completely independently from any centralized systems. That means you don't have access to centralized water, centralized canalization, centralized anything centralized, basically. And if you prove in practical test that you can manage your resources for yourself, and I have a public record how you did it, how successfully you did it, either you starve yourself to almost death, but just to survive, or you really strive, then I will join. Then I will entrust because in Dillon concept structure, I believe, for example, if you are going to the school and you're graduating, let's say you are a teenager and you decided who you want to be in your life. For example, you decided not to be a Captain Dillon. You don't want to dedicate your life to manage resources. You want to be an artist. That means you can basically give your portion of resources into the management of Captain Dillon, into the manager to someone who possess the skills and ability to manage your resources. That means you can, let's say, You can go to art school who owns by the community of artists, for example, and this community would be led by Captain Dilon, who manage your resources in order for your school to operate.
Now, who are the Captain Dylans?
Anybody who pass the test.
Now, and Dylan, does the Captain Dylan mean their name is not there, or is just Captain Dylan a working title for the name at the moment, just as you're
It could
working
be
out
working
some of the
title.
kinks?
Yeah, it could be working title. I cannot force anybody to use it. It's just working title for let's say framework of the Dylan concept. They could be
And what
they could be called resource stewards, for example.
okay, stewards, reverse stewards,
Resource steward.
resource.
Yeah.
And explain for our audience what are the main features of the Democracy 2.0, the platform itself. I would like I read it in my leisure time in preparation for our interview, but explain Democracy 2.0. I think that's an extremely valuable portion of what your platform and your designation of it. Explain what that means. Democracy 2.0.
Democracy 2.0 is basically a platform, centralized database of all resources available to the nation. That's the first step, first important step. And honestly, I don't even know why we don't have it here. Maybe we have it in some form. I didn't see it, but I believe in any transparent democratic society, we should have access to the basic numbers of all accounted resources we as a nation has. And first step, we should have transparent database of all resources available us as a nation. Second step is we are on agreed rules which could be customized and nothing set in stone. Like I said, Democracy 2.0 and Dylan concept, it's a framework. But second step, this system will automatically divide all resources to number of registered citizens of the country. And basically, you will have the passport would be replaced with a smartphone-like device that will display in real time your portion of the natural resources of the nation. That's probably the basic, the very basic of the Democracy 2.0 platform.
And that sounds great. So now what I'd like you to describe for our audience, why is the Dylan concept a better format of governance than our current format of democracy? So we have, with the Dylan concept, we have Democracy 2.0. Why is Dylan concept a better concept? Please go into these next few minutes to explain why your concept is the better platform we should be seeking.
Because it resolves the main problems we have, like
and what and list those.
Any social issues, social sustainability for let's say disabled. For example, if you are disabled, you don't have to worry about, you don't have to rely on some kind of social programs or contributions from anyone. You still have your portion of natural resources that you can use to basically satisfy your needs, your basic needs. And it goes for everyone, which means we once and for all resolve all social issues like pensions. We don't need pensions anymore. By the way, we don't need IRS anymore because we don't need some authority collecting money from us. We will be voluntarily from our portions funding the programs we need to fund. Need to fund, for example, army. We can just directly fund it, and it gives, I believe, it gives real power into the people's hands. I
do
believe
too.
it's a real democracy when you have the sacred right to your portion of the natural resources. Because I believe in the modern society, the right of just voice is not enough. I think you have to have the right to possess the portion of natural resources of the country. That's
I
what I.
think that's very accurate. So, when you see today's format of our government, what differentiates the Dylan concept from today's capitalistic platform?
Well, right now, the unfortunately the monetary system is failing, and everybody, I believe, agree with it. And the monetary system is also based on things that don't have intrinsic value, like, for example, the um, the, the currency,
I'm here.
fiat currency is not the money. It's not even by the definition. If you go to and look at the definition of the money in on a Federal Reserve website, it says it's store of value. How store of value could be inflating? It doesn't make sense. That means money does not equal fiat currency. Fiat currency, not money. So we don't have a real monetary system. Why? Because monetary system have to be tied to real natural resources.
And people don't understand that. I don't think they get that. And that's what part of what you're trying to do is educate them that they're not getting that. Am I correct?
Correct.
So, how do we build a support system to help educate people on the realities of what their money is?
Um, we actually, with our project, moving forward pretty fast, and the project, the Dilon concept is now the Dilon concept ecosystem, because it includes 3 websites and 3 directions of where we're going. DilonConcept.org, it's a non-profit organization. Basically, I aim to do most of the research and development of the concept itself, and possibly accept donations and etc. But besides this, we have a DilonConcept.org. It's also a website I invite you everybody to visit and check, where we offering governments to participate, and we offering them to create virtual country replica of their country in sense of natural resources, of course, to apply Dylan concept ideas and let the citizens to kind of test out the system and see if they like it and support it. So we
So
actively
you have
already,
some countries that are interested already. You have some countries that are already
yes,
interested in the Dylan concept.
correct.
You can't, obviously you can't list the countries yet because it's still in the early stages, correct?
Yes, we have very interesting talk. I was even surprised they got interested in the first place, but they really got interested, and we now kind of in a discussion phase how we can move forward. But the basic idea, you can find it on DilonConceptDAO.org, that country would pay us first installment, and then it will be monthly fees to support the project, and we will jump in and start to implement, and hopefully it will. Basically, we are offering the governments to test the Dylan concept ideas in the virtual environment without any stress to the society, and in a kind of safe sandbox, and see how it works and if they like it. And I choose this approach over, because it was at some point I was thinking to make like a, let's say, bottom down, bottom up movement, trying to, but I was afraid that it might meet a lot of resistance from the on the government's level, so I decided to go through the governments and talk to them and try to convince them to try out this concept and see if it's working or not in a virtual environment. And
No,
besides this, sorry to interrupt you. Besides this, we
that's
have a
okay.
shared a website called DilonLand.org, and this is our front running, should I say, project, and it should be ready in a couple of months, where we will be able to accept first followers in a virtual country. We're going to create basically fake virtual country. Fake, it's only on the sense it's not fake. I mean, fake, not a correct word here. It will be a country, a virtual country, but it's not gonna be copy or representation of any existing country. That's what I'm trying to say. It's going to be completely
Gotcha.
kind of imaginative country, but we're going to try to be as close as possible to Earth conditions, of course. And the idea is, in this virtual country, we would invite everyone to participate and test the Dylan concept ideas.
And now, with the Dylan concept and ideas, how does the Dylan house fit into that?
Dylan house is Dylan concept is a kind of holistic concept. It addresses the education, housing, and the social structure. So Dylan house, the idea is that I believe we have, watching all this hurricane devastations and fires in LA, and how people leave their houses like nothing. And long before that, I start to think about building the house that, first of all, cannot be burned. It's built on the fireproof materials, from fireproof materials. Cannot be basically be destroyed by any natural disaster. That's how I came to shape of sphere. And you can find the small picture of it in DilonConcept.org, but I'm gonna present it more. And it's not just design itself. I already have designed the actual 3D structure with engineers. And it's envisioned, the original Dilon house is envisioned as a sphere standing on the legs. That means it could be moved anywhere. So it's completely movable. That means you can basically transport your house anywhere. And the idea behind it, that it's designed as almost like a space unit where you can sustain yourself on any spot on planet Earth. It's very kind of let's say far-fetched vision I have, but of course we can have um, let's say not that advanced version early on, but the basic idea is that it's completely independent, undistractable by any natural force structure, that completely independent from any centralized system. So it will have water extraction system. It will have a possibly hydroponic garden. It will have a small shop to build stuff, because I believe we heading towards the economy where we can gonna be deviating more and more from centralized production towards more you can basically, right now we have technology. If you have a small garage and you have 3D printer and the CNC machine, you can build almost anything.
We got this. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's basically idea behind the Dilon house and Dilon school. If I may, I'm sorry. Can I interrupt for a sec?
Please do. Please do. I would like them to be able to know all the
Sure.
information as possible. Go right ahead.
Sure. Give me one.
Oh, you're getting up during the interview. Okay. This is so the Dylan concept is a great deal of an ideology of looking
I'm so sorry.
social structure.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'm so sorry. I thought I have something on the background noise, and I thought it's disrupting. Okay.
No, I didn't hear it. I actually was just going into the fact that the Dylan concept is a new social structure that American civilization can look upon to see how we redesign how we're going to care for each other. In short, it is talking about how we can live in a new society. It's radicalized, but it helps all of us feel protected. Is that what we're understanding?
Correct.
And you, when you got up, you were going to get some information. Please forgive me. Go right ahead.
No. I was just thought that I have some noise in the background. No worries.
Okay. And so, if you want people to reach you and hear more about it, where can they reach you at?
DilonConcept.org. It's on the screen. Please do go there. Check the. I'm sorry, the websites is under major construction right now, and it's gonna be changed a lot. But for now, the best way is DilonConcept.org, and you will find a link to my LinkedIn page. And please connect with me there.
And how can people learn more about Curt Dilon? Where's the place? Is that LinkedIn? Is that your Instagram? Where can people more learn about you and how you came up with this concept yourself?
I would say DilonConcept.org is the best place to go.
Fantastic. And then what are the lasting words you want people to understand about the Dilon concept and how it fits into our new society?
Please read. I spend a lot of years. I have more than 100 documents written. It's not an easy concept to understand and wrap your head around. But please read my website, my articles on LinkedIn, and participate, ask questions. And if we get more people interested in participating in discussion, and we can get somewhere, I guess.
I think that's perfect. Well, guests today in the Makers Bar family, you know your boy Seth Garu. Curt Dilon has been a friend of mine for a while, and I shared with him that I found this concept of a new ideology for our society to be very fascinating, extremely challenging to our concepts of what we've been used to before. The Dilon concept and democracy 2.0. What does that mean for us as a society? If you want to learn more about this, please contact Curt Dilon at his site, the Dilon Concept, DilonConcept.org, so you can find out more about his thoughts for the future. I think that we have decided in our conversation that we are a society that needs new ways of understanding how we're going to manage our money, how we're going to manage our resources, and how we're going to manage living together. The Dilon concept is one of those thought-provoking ideas that's radicalized, but not idealized. Idealized meaning that it's not just an idea. When you think about what Curt is saying, there are some very valid points to understanding how we as a society can move forward where we're all feeling equal. This is your boy, Seth Garu, with Makers Bar, where we're creating 1 million leaders today for tomorrow with our president of Dilon Concept, Curt Dilon, at DilonConcept.org. We're extremely pleased to have him with us today. Curt, any closing words you want to say, since I said those last things that you want to be able to say as far as contact to you or anything else other people might want to be interested in finding out about your location and getting more information?
Yeah, please do go to DilonConcept.org. DilonLand.org going to be launched soon. And little disclaimer, our supportive Instagram picture, if you support the project, you can send it to me, and it's going to be when you form the Dilon house, which is resembling the Dilon Concept logo you see on the screen. This is going to be
okay. Stop doing the visual. So Curt Dilon and the Dilon Concept, please check out his site at DilonConcept.org. He's a dear friend of mine. I know you're going to be fascinated, and I shared with Curt that once I started reading it, we are living in times that are uncertain, and times that are looking for us to examine how our value system is as far as our resources. DilonConcept.org is one of those ways you can examine what you're going to feel free to do with how we're looking forward to the future. Curt, thank you so much for being a part of the program today with Makers Bar and Seth Garu podcast. We are so pleased that you were able to join us today. Thank you so much. Please check out DilonConcept.org. And again, as we say, the Lovolution is the revolution that we want. Begin the revolution of love by creating a revolution of love. And know that we are here together supporting each other. This is Seth Garu Baxter with Makers Bar. If you like the content that we're saying and you like the leaders we're bringing to you, please check out Dilon Concept. Please press like, subscribe, and share any of the content that you're seeing on us today. And know that I love you dearly. We are Seth Garu Baxter at makersbar.org. We'll talk to you again in a few moments. Peace, love, happiness, and Lovolution. Curt, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Absolutely.